Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin.
Good morning.
Vinbai. And good morning, Rufai. Let me tell you what is happening around the world. Now, the international football community remains in shock at the sudden death of Liverpool striker 28-year-old Diogo Jota, whose funeral will be held on Saturday. Now, Jota was killed alongside his 26-year-old brother Andre Silva in a fiery accident in the early hours of Thursday morning in northwestern Spain. The siblings were on their way to Santander for Liverpool's pre-season training camp and were making the trip by car and ferry because Diogo had undergone minor surgery, so doctors had advised him against flying. Now, the car they were in, a green Lamborghini, suffered a tire blowout while overtaking another car on the A52 and became engulfed in flames, with both brothers pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Jota's heartbreaking death occurs just 10 days after he married his childhood sweetheart, Ruth Cardoso. The couple, who have 3 children, 2 toddler sons, Dennis and Duarte, and a baby daughter who was born in 2024. Now, the last month of his life was indeed a success, especially when we're looking at his professional career. Jota had won the English Premier League with his club Liverpool and also the Nations League with his country, Portugal. Now, a wake for Diogo and Andre will be held today, Friday, at 3 p.m. That's Portuguese time, at São Cosme Chapel, which is 30 minutes away from Jota's hometown of Porto. Now, the 10 a.m. funeral mass will take place tomorrow, Saturday, at Igreja Matriz de Gondomar, which is a church close to where Jota got married. In Portugal, it is common for a funeral to take place as soon as 48 hours after a death, with a wake part of the traditions, which include wearing black for mourning and a full Catholic service. Well, we all extend our deepest condolences to the Jota family, their loved ones, as well as Liverpool fans worldwide, and to the dearly departed brothers, may you never walk alone. Now, the disturbing news does continue in the Middle East now, where American contractors guarding aid distribution sites, including the US-founded and Israel-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in Gaza, have been accused of using live munition and stun grenades as hungry Palestinians scramble for food. Now, security staff hired at the sites were often unqualified, unvetted, heavily armed, and seemed to have an open license to do whatever they wished. That's according to 2 US contractors who say that they were coming forward with their witness statements because they were disturbed by what they had considered dangerous and irresponsible practices. Journalists have been unable to access GHF sites, which have been located in Israeli military-controlled zones, but we do know that earlier this week, officials in Switzerland initiated proceedings to dissolve the Geneva branch of the GHF, citing legal shortcomings in its establishment. Israel's military says it fires only warning shots and it denies deliberately shooting at any innocent civilians and is investigating reports of civilian harm. The GHF has also denied the allegations. Finally, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has announced the controversial power dam his country has been building on the Nile is now complete. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a major milestone for the country amid a dispute with Egypt, which is concerned the dam would deplete its share of Nile River waters. Egypt has referred to the dam as an existential threat because the Arab world's most populous country relies almost entirely on the River Nile to supply water for agriculture and its more than 100 million people. The dam will be inaugurated in September, and Ethiopia has invited Egypt and Sudan to attend the opening. Those are your stories. Love to hear your thoughts.
All right, real quickly, I'd like to pay tribute to 2 great footballers that passed. One Nigerian legend, and Diogo Jota. Yes. Very sad one. He had a lung surgery, so the doctor said he shouldn't fly so that he won't have swellings around there because surgery has already concluded. And he needed to go past the fitness test on Monday with Liverpool. So he said he was going to drive across the border into Spain, Santander, get a ferry and get there, and it never happened. The Lamborghini was said to be given to him as a wedding gift. And it was just so sad while he was trying to overtake that happened. In fact, there had been some videos now I see online as regards somebody that passed through an area where the car was still burning. And that was him and his brother, the only children of that family. Mm-hmm. So to the Jota family, commiserations with them, very sad.
Absolutely.
Very sad at this point in time, but I'm sure investigation will still come up as regards that. As for Dodo Mayana, as we fondly call him. I mean, what date in the heroics of Peter Rufai really stands is apart from the USA 94 team going up to, Tunisia 94 team and the likes, and going up to France 98, which was sort of like his final cutting call before Ikesho Romu took over in 2022. In 2002, Korea, Japan, was the 23rd of March, 1988. We're playing a Nations Cup tournament called Maroc 88. And we got up to the semi-final. We're playing Algeria. Dead hit, went into penalties, and the heroics of Peter Rufai saved the day. And that was who Peter Rufai was. That endeared a lot of people to him. He was a man that would give his heart on the field for Nigeria. He will fight for Nigeria. Went ahead, one of those few blocks of players that started going abroad, then the likes of him and Keshi and the likes. I think played in Beveren in Belgium at some point, and went up to Spain, went up to Deportivo La Coruña at some point, and he did so much for this country. Apart from that, he went ahead, he started an academy called Star Roof, and he's done a lot. He was also a journalist, he was in the football punditry game and all of that. But Dodo Mayana will be fondly missed, and when you see the Nigerian USA 94 team and you see Rufai written at the back, then you can just only honor that great man.
Agreed. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Wimbai.
Absolutely. It's such a dark day for the football community and for football lovers at large. And I do wish the souls of the departed just repose in the bosom of the Lord and comfort to their families and loved ones. Yes. I'll focus on Ethiopia and the GERD, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which is a double-edged sword at this moment. Such a massive achievement to celebrate, a $4 billion investment that is supposed to generate up to 6,000 megawatts of electricity. Mind you, almost half of Ethiopia is said to be to not have access to electricity. So this is revolutionary for Ethiopia. However, this is a conflict for Egypt and other nations that are on the Nile basin, because they're saying that this will contribute to water poverty for them. Now, water poverty based off of the fact that they're downstream countries, so they're saying they won't get as much of the flowing water as they need, that they currently depend on, especially given what climate change is doing to the volume of water that's already flowing there. And unfortunately, in over a decade, there's been no breakthrough in this negotiation, even though Egypt is reassuring that they will not, Egypt will ensure that they are not put in a disadvantageous position because of this. Ultimately, they're going to get less water flowing. That's just the truth of it. The reservoir itself, they say, is the size of a greater London. So it's a huge body of water. Now, this gets a little bit complicated now because more recently we've seen Egypt has been rubbing shoulders with the United States under Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has also criticized the role that Ethiopia is playing and those who have helped to fund this Renaissance Dam. So the language from Egypt is no longer friendly and diplomatic. Egypt is now saying that they're ready to do whatever they need to do because they say that this is an existential threat to their nation and to their nationhood. So I hope that this great achievement, which we should be celebrating as an African milestone, does not turn to tragedy. And it just points out to all the other issues that we have conflicting us on the African continent. When it's minerals, there's conflict. When it's land, there's conflict. Now it's water. And potentially there's conflict, which is hugely unfortunate. And I do hope that a diplomatic solution is found to this and a true assessment is made that can ensure that all of the Nile basin states, Egypt, Sudan being the most vocal for now, are able to get access to the necessary water that they need for their nations.
Thank you, Wimbai.
Okay, let me just begin with the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. You trace it back to a 1929 treaty, which gave Egypt control, over the Blue Nile, that part. Now, that had been renegotiated over the years, but, conflict has not been taken away from it. And Ethiopia is saying that on the basis of the renegotiation, which Egypt says it has not really endorsed, they cannot go ahead and dam the Blue Nile. The dam itself is about 472 feet high. It's about 19 miles long. It's about 1 mile, wide. Now, Ethiopia is protecting its own sovereign interests. If that dam comes on stream, now that it's been completed, it's going to lead to a doubling of electricity supply for Ethiopia. So Ethiopia wants to double its electricity supply. Egypt says it depends on the Blue Nile for 97% of the water it uses for households and also for agriculture. So Egypt also has a strategic interest involved in this particular matter. And the fear is that this dam, during periods of drought, if the Ethiopians increase the volume of water that they will use to run the dam, then Egypt will suffer. Sudan, the dam is 20 miles from the border with Sudan, the border between Ethiopia and Sudan. Sudan also depends on the Blue Nile for water. So each country has its own strategic interest involved in this matter. The question is, could they share? Could there be peace? Could there be, shared interest now? Could there be some accommodation? Right. Because indeed, if you look at some of the wars, in the world history, battles have been fought as a result of water.
Correct.
And environmentalists say that the world at this moment faces a problem of water scarcity. I think that what the international community can do is to intervene to make sure that good reason prevails, so that there isn't an outbreak of hostilities in that part of East Africa with Egypt, because, of course, we have more than enough conflicts in the world. Now, to talk about the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was established or backed by the United States. Now, Israel decided to put it up, having imposed an 11-week blockade, stopping medical supplies to Gaza, no food supply. Now, eventually, backed by the U.S., they set up this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Now, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation claims that it has supplied trucks of food and all of that. But these independent contractors are now saying, giving the witness, that the guards for the distribution of aid, that they don't think that the people of Gaza, of Palestine, that they are of any value, that they just shoot at them indiscriminately because there are no standard operating procedures, there are no rules of engagement, and these contractors are complaining that these people are, particularly women, children, the elderly, they are subjected to undue hardship with the intensification of hostilities. The question to ask is, why are these guards, who are also backed by the United States, why are they shooting at people? After all, defenseless people are not supposed to be shot at. People who are not involved directly in combat, when you shoot them, that would be a crime against humanity. So who is going to answer for the war crimes involved? So I think the revelation is important, and it's on the basis of this that 170 charities and NGOs have called for the disbandment of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, including OSPAN, including Save the Children, saying that, look, there should be a framework. Even in Switzerland, NGOs there are saying there is a problem right here. As for Diogo Jota, 185 appearances for Liverpool, 65 goals, 49 appearances for his country. A Portuguese elite footballer is dead. His death has been seen as a major shock for the international community. He leaves behind a wife who got married to him just about less than 11 days ago, and 3 children. And then, of course, he has to be buried alongside his brother. So it's a lot of shock, particularly to the fans of Liverpool. He was a fan's favorite as a Liverpool forward. And the coaches who worked with him, Anslot, the current manager, and Jurgen Klopp, the manager who recruited him to Liverpool, they say they are shocked because it was a manager's delight. So we join other people in commiserating with Liverpool and with his family.
Agreed. Well, thank you all for your submissions. Let's take a look now at today's newspapers. Let's start with This Day. This Day leads with the presidency's critical assessment of the ADC coalition, saying that it will only drag Nigeria backwards and threaten Nigeria's democracy. Now, the promoters of this coalition, which include politicians such as Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rotimi Amechi, have been described as political desperados. Now, The Guardian also leads with this story, calling the coalition an illusion of harmony. To the Daily Independent, which reports that the National Alliance for Democratic Governance has described the reinstatement of Senator Samuel Anyanwu as the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party as a step towards the party's final burial. Also on the paper, its picture headline shows Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun and the acting US Consul General Joe Ellenberg cutting the ribbon at the official opening of the Ogun Tech Hub window on America, which took place in the state capital, Abeokuta, on Thursday. Now, the New Telegraph leads with Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, saying that he will not disclose the details of his peace deal with suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Meanwhile, as the Daily Sun reports, the APC is holding a South-South summit in Edo State to strategize on the party's renewed hope agenda and the region's political future. While the Daily Trust also reports in this story, but looks at Oluwatumbosun Awez, who is an aide to Senator Olajide Ipinsagba, who is representing Ondo North Senatorial District. He's a senator there, and his aide has resigned because of his unsustainable monthly salary of 20,000 naira. Awe, who served as a ward liaison officer in Akoko North East local government area, says that that's why he left. And as can be expected, many global papers, including the Metro and the Mirror, are dedicating their front pages to the tragic sudden death, of course, of Liverpool star Diogo Jota and his fellow footballer brother.